council to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And a couple of announcements. Mr. Hawes is ill and contacted me this evening, so he is excused. And I am in possession of verification from the Secretary of State's website that this meeting was posted appropriately on their website on January 20th at 6:42 p.m. So we are in compliance with the open meetings law. Any additional announcements? Moving on to the minutes from December 11th.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of December 11th, 2014.
Second.
Discussion on the minutes? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Warrants?
I make a motion that we accept payroll warrant number 27 in the amount of $3,452.49.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Payroll warrant number 28.
Make a motion to accept payroll warrant number 28 in the amount of $27,768.21.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Payroll warrant 28.
No, this is the report for the...
No, we're on payroll warrant 28.
Oh, my vote? Oh,
Yes.
aye.
Aye. Okay. Motion carries unanimously. I'm sorry. General warrant number 13.
Make a motion that we accept general warrant number 13 in the amount of $70,433.54.
Is there a second?
Second that.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries unanimously. December 2014 monthly reports.
I make a motion that we accept the following December 2014 monthly reports as submitted. Building and Zoning Department, Department of Public Works, Finance Department, Human Services, Police Department, Rhode Island Resource Recovery Corporation, Tax Assessor. May I just make one point?
Yes?
I received 2 human services reports, but not a planning department. I don't know whether that was an old.
Same thing happened.
Okay.
It was, I spoke to Juliana about that today, and she thought, I think she was misinformed, that she thought her
Okay,
reports to the planning board were being considered as a report to the council as well, and so I corrected her.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I had 2 human resources.
I'll second Lisa's motion.
Okay. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Quarterly reports.
I make a motion that we accept the following quarterly reports as presented. Board of Canvassers, Engineering Board, Worcester Center Fire Company, Worcester School Committee, Land Trust, the library, Moosup Valley Volunteer Fire Company, which has 2, I believe, from April 1st, 2014.
There's 3.
Okay, July 2014 to September 30th, September 30th to December 31st. Forest Recreation Committee, South Forster Volunteer Fire Company, Tax Board of Review, and the Zoning Board of Review.
Is there a second?
Second that.
Any discussion?
I'm going to recuse myself from this one.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Recusals. Mr. Steve is recusing. Motion Carries 3-0 with one recusal. Okay, new business. 2015-2016 Regional School District budget meeting. Actually, this is actually going to be a joint meeting, so the school committee, which has a quorum here, has to call themselves to order. I'm going to recognize the chair, Mr. Savasio, to go ahead and do that before we
We're
do
going to
that.
call the, whatever today is, regional school committee meeting to order with the joint meeting with the town council. This is state law, so we have to do this every year. And saying that, could I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Savasio?
Here.
Ms. Joyce? Here. Ms. Carroll? Ms. Edmus? Here. Ms. Keeling?
Here.
Ms. Pezza?
Here.
Ms. Reichert? Mr. Steer?
Yeah.
Ms. Swanson?
Okay, I'll hand it over to the superintendent.
I'm going to pass out a preliminary draft of the regional budget for the town council. And before we begin, I know we've come here every year for the last few years, but the personnel in attendance today has changed slightly. As many of you know, Sarah Mangiarelli, our former business manager, has left the district, and we've been fortunate enough to hire Kathy Hings from Pennsylvania, who will be joining us. She joined us back in August, had a little overlap with Sarah to have a smooth hands-off of a transition, and she's been instrumental in helping develop this budget this year as well. For the presentation, what we were going to do is, I'll be turning it over to Kathy in a moment. She was going to walk you through some of the outlays of some of the numbers as to what we expect to be some of the revenue sources and their change up and down, what we expect to be some of the expenditures, and we'll be detailing some of what are some of the drivers on our budget this year that are causing an increase. And I'll also be spending some time after she's done with the numbers. Obviously, there'll be some questions and answers from you all as well, but I'll spend some time articulating some of the priorities that we've continued to build into this budget around our technology, around our academies for students, and I'll expand on those a little bit as well, and through the question and answer period, but also just do a small overview of what we're trying to get accomplished educationally. So at this point, you have a copy of the, I should have made it all around each of you, so I'm going to turn it over to Kathy, and I'm going to walk you through some of the overview of the financials.
I just want to point out, we did start about a couple months ago meeting with the budget committee, and we started out like a 5.83 increase, but we've worked really hard to try to get this down below 4%, 4% or lower. The first page is a comprehensive summary. It breaks out by fund exactly where the budget is, and it compares it to the budget 2 years prior. The second page is where I'm going to be highlighting most of the things I'm saying because it's easier to follow. I'm just going to point that out. Is on the side, the budget, the last 3 columns, it gives the percentages up and down and the net change budget year to budget year. Okay? So I'm going to start with the revenue. In the state aid, we're projecting a net decrease in housing aid of 1.59%, and that amounts to about $131,000. In federal, we have another decrease, and that's in the Title I and the Title II money, and that's about $12,000, which is about 3.84% decrease.
I need you to indicate to me which page you're on, please.
I go by page 2 just because I'm looking at these negative percentages, which is showing you what's going up and what's going down budget year to budget year.
Our pages are numbered.
Stop.
Page
13. Oh, I'm sorry, 13. There's
Second
2 in the
page.
packet, sorry about that. Okay, it's 13
Okay,
on the numbering.
sorry.
That's all right, no, I'm sorry, I should clarify. The projected decrease in the miscellaneous revenue is about $112,922, which amounts to about 15%. This is, a bulk of that is the stop loss revenue, which is special ed, of about $73,000, and then there's an anticipated decrease in tuition revenue of about $18,000. The budgeted use of debt service, the set-aside fund balance is $52,000. There's also budgeted use of the capital improvements fund of about $140,000. Now we also set aside funds just in the general fund to use $117,000 as well. That's incorporated into the budget All right, as indicated in the, oh, that's the $100,000, that's year to year. Projected increase in, okay, I'm gonna go right under the expenses. The healthcare, we're expecting an increase of about 2%. The increase in educational programs is about 14.8%. This is the technology purchase, the expansion of programs, lacrosse. It amounts to about $250,000. The increase in district-wide facility costs is due to anticipated out-of-district costs. There's the charter school, which we're expecting to go up about $30,000. The increase in the MET tuitions, which is $30,000. An increase in state-placed out-of-district of about $152,000. We did, because we have a state-approved career and tech education program, we did get a decrease in about $24,000. That's offset with some revenue that we also got.
So just, I'm going to touch on that for one moment. We do tuition children outside of district. Career and technical education programs provide children the opportunity to pursue areas that are of interest to them in different careers and college preparation. If you don't have an approved program within your school district, children have the right to go to other school districts. For example, about 6 years ago, when I first started as superintendent, we were tuitioning 18 students out of district to Cranston Career and Technical Center. This year we're currently tuitioning 1 student out to Cranston Career and Tech, but we do have 3 children who will be at Coventry Career and Technical Center for next year, and that's part of our budget as well. The state of Rhode Island passed new regulations for career and tech ed. And we used to be serviced, we used to have a relationship with Cranston. That is now phasing out. We now have a relationship with Warwick and with Coventry. So right now, from 6 years ago, we went from 18 students being tuitioned out with a cost of over $300,000 down to 1 this year in Cranston, and will be none projected at Cranston for next year, but we will have 3 at Coventry. But Kathy was mentioning about our own programs. Because of the new regulations, we sought approval for 2 programs already from the Department of Education. One is our STEM Academy for Pre-Engineering and Robotics, and the other one is our Agricultural Science program. We got that approval in June of last year, and we're currently tuitioning 2 students in to our school system for those programs. One is coming from Scituate, and one is coming from Warwick. We have 4 other programs that we are seeking approval for this year. We have, in addition to the 2 children who are coming, we do have 4 children who have expressed an interest in taking out the forms to come in to be tuitioned into those programs. We have 4 other programs up for approval for this year. One is the Bioscience Academy that we added at the high school. This was the first year that we set up that program, year 1. Our budget includes funding for year 2 next year. We also have an IT and Gaming Academy that is seeking approval for the Department of Education. And again, we put the first year classes in place this year and kids are enrolled. And we're obviously trying to expand the equipment and the courses for next year. We also are seeking approval for music and our music technology program. That program we invested about 3 years ago, $75,000 in new music equipment, and about $40,000 2 years ago in music technology so the kids can produce music digitally. That's the 3rd program that's up for approval. And then our construction and manufacturing, or advanced manufacturing as we're calling it. So those 4 programs, if they're able to get approval, would also be able to be advertised for students to be tuitioned in. And that's part of some of the expansion of those programs as part of the cost and the educational that you've seen. To help support that, just so you all know, we received $75,000 in grant money from the Department of Education over a 2-year period, and they are going to be releasing additional funds for competitive grants this spring, or they said in February, so we will apply for those as well, and hopefully we'll be successful. But that's been part of our multi-year program, and last thing I'll say about those, and I'll let Kathy continue with the numbers, is the whole premise behind that was to rebuild those programs in much the same way you have Algebra 1, Algebra 2, you have Spanish 1, Spanish 2. It was to take those programs which are generally elective and to build them into a 3-year sequence that ends with either college credit or industry certification.